This is your ticket out of social anxiety, and here's why. Social anxiety is just another way of saying, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe around that group of girls. I don't feel safe at school. I don't feel safe wearing these outfits. I don't feel safe wearing my hair in a certain way. I don't feel safe being myself. As someone who battled social anxiety for years and years in school, there's a thing or two that I've learned about social anxiety and how to overcome it. As now someone who I feel like I can just freely be myself, I can post whatever I want on TikTok, on YouTube. I literally just don't care. Other people's opinions just do not affect me. Here are 6 things that I've learned that help me to overcome social anxiety. Craving safety is just a sign of anxiety. Feeling like I don't feel safe in class. I don't feel safe when I have to try and make new friends. I don't feel safe going up to new people. I don't feel safe standing up for myself. If you have all these situations where you're just avoiding them because they're so scary and you don't feel safe, it's just a sign of anxiety. And anxiety can look so different to different people. For example, it can be clammy hands. It can be you turn bright red. It can be you just start sweating. It can be you get a rash. It can look different for everyone. I'm sure you'll know what it is for you, but having an understanding of what people or what person, what situation, what location causes anxiety and causes those feelings can massively help. For me, the thought of school would literally just make me want to cry. I just felt so anxious in school, socially anxious around the people, the teachers, everyone. I just didn't feel safe at all. And I just found myself constantly craving like safety. I just want to go home. I want to go home. I wouldn't even stick around at lunchtime. My school and my house were like 15 minutes away. So literally every lunchtime I would walk home and walk back. Like we'd only have like 40 minutes as well. So I'd have to speed walk, eat my lunch really quickly, then run home. I would rather do that than stick around in school willingly around a bunch of people that made me terrified. Security is temporary and exhausting. I was craving safety. I want to go home. But that's temporary. Like, okay, I go home for a few minutes, but then I have to go back. Or you're scared of doing public speaking, so you avoid it in every single way that you can. You call in sick, you postpone it to a different day. But that public speaking, you're gonna have to do it again. Like any time that you run away from that thing that makes you anxious, as tough as it is to hear, it's temporary and it's exhausting. You're literally running back and forth between these things just to avoid the feeling of anxiety. Imagine you're going on a road trip. You've got someone in the car, a family friend you've not met before, and this person is literally terrified of being on the highway. They're scared of a car crash. They're scared of something bad happening, which that's understandable. But it means that they're just like hoping and praying to stop by every single McDonald's on the way home. Like every single service station, they want to stop just so that they're not on the highway. They're not on the motorway. They're safe. Imagine how exhausting that would be on an actual road trip. Like if you had to stop at every single service station just to feel safe, just to have a breather, just to calm down. First of all, that would take forever. And also it's temporary. No matter how long you're at that McDonald's, you're going to have to get back on the road again. Like sometimes with social anxiety, you have to realize that you're kind of focusing on the wrong thing in order to cope with it. That person that you got in the car, your family member who's terrified, they've kind of made their goal get to the service station, get to the McDonald's. They've made their goal a temporary thing, which isn't sustainable, and it's going to make you unhappy in the long run. You need to change your goal. With this analogy of the road trip, your goal shouldn't be to get to the service station. It should honestly be to be on the highway and be able to cope with it. For me, when I was in school, my goal was just go home, get to school as late as possible. School would start at 9, I would show up at 8:59. School would finish at 3:30. I would leave 3:31. Like my goal was always to go home and be at home, when really my goal should have been to just be at school and cope with being at school. This is the exact reason why I had social anxiety in school. I had it in sixth form, which is like the last few years of school. And then I was confused, why did I have it at uni? I was like, why do I have this at uni? I'm in uni now. Uni's different. University's like big and, I don't know, bigger city. Like I thought it would lead because I'm in a new place, but really I took the habits with me. I took the coping strategy of making my goal a temporary thing, and I still had that at university. With social anxiety, your goal shouldn't be, I want to be around nicer people. I want people to actually like me. I want to go to a different school. It should be, I can cope with being around anyone. I can cope if people want to be my friend or if they don't. I can cope in this school or that school or any school. And the reason this is so important is because I promise you, social anxiety will drag on and on and on unless you change this goal. If you make your goal just to cope with the McDonald's, to cope at the service station, you're going to have it for such a long time. Like you can't escape the highway, you can't escape the motorway. You have to be able to cope with that tough thing. Similarly, with public speaking, I know it's tough. Public speaking is so hard. I struggle with it, even as someone who publicly speaks. And as much as anxiety is tough, I just hate the control it had over me. I hated the way that it just made me like so small, even though I didn't want to feel that way. It makes you feel like you can't do these things, and I promise you can. And it makes you think that these things are so big and dramatic and scary. Making new friends at a new school is big and scary, but it's just not. So you need to change the goal. And by change the goal, I essentially mean you need to learn to not cope with social anxiety, but instead to roll with the punches. You need to start telling yourself, I can cope in tough situations. I can go to school and be all on my own and still not have it affect me. I can cope being by myself. I don't care if people are looking at me. I don't care if people are talking about me. That is the thing you want to strive for. Because then the anxiety is not in charge, you're in charge. You can cope with it. You can feel the anxiety rising and you can feel it coming up, but you're in control because you can cope with it and you can deal with it. When anxiety has really got you in a chokehold and you're really struggling with it, you're kind of running from safety zone to safety zone to safety zone. Like you've got these, imagine they're big bubbles, like there's the safety zones and there's the danger zones. You're just running from safety to safety, terrified of the danger zone, when actually the danger zone is not that deep. It's just a group of people at your school, or it's just a PowerPoint presentation. It's just telling your friend that they're being rude to you and you want them to stop being rude to you. It's just standing up for yourself or being yourself or just showing your personality. Like this danger zone, it's not that deep. It's just something that you've made up to be super big in your head. And that's why it's so exhausting, because you're literally running from safety zone to safety zone to safety zone. It's exhausting. Like anxiety is not sustainable. If you've made it to this video, I'm so glad, because it will stop soon. You can't keep having it forever, as tough as it is. And sometimes it feels like such a huge mountain to overcome it. Like, how am I going to get over this thing? How am I going to be able to deal with this situation? But you absolutely can. Not only are you going to absolutely can, you absolutely should. You can't keep having it forever. It just stops you from doing so much. Going back to the analogy, it's weird because you're running from safety zone to safety zone, but it's actually like paradoxical, because you're running from safety zone to safety zone, but you're terrified. Like you're so scared, but you're in the safety zones. You're in that safety zone, terrified, looking out like what's in the danger zone. Like you're so scared, when actually that's the place you should feel safe and comfortable and happy and calm. But you're scared in that zone. It's also so weird because for me, whenever, I'm sure you can relate, if you've ever done something and achieved something and you were so scared of it before, like you've come out on the other side and you're like, oh my God, that wasn't a big deal. That wasn't as scary as I thought it was. You're now in that danger zone, but you feel happy and calm and relieved. Like it's so weird how the feelings you have in the safety zone are different to the ones in the danger zone. Everyone's danger zone are going to be so different. But for me, I know it was anything to do with school, anything to do with socializing, meeting new people, opening up and showing my personality, being myself. That was the things that I was just terrified of. And a good way to think about it is, as you overcome social anxiety and you begin to step out of this safety zone, be comfortable in the danger zone, those safety zones will actually get smaller and smaller, or they get less of a big deal, and you can actually handle the danger, which isn't danger, by the way. It's just made up danger in your head. It's like fantasy danger. A key thing that I learned about social anxiety also is that you're kind of in a mob. When you're in the depths of social anxiety and you're running from safety to safety to safety, you're not running on your own, you're running in a mob. You've got so many other people around you, at the same school as you, at the same college as you, who are also terrified. They're also really nervous about going into school and like dealing with other people. They also feel like the odd one out. They also are quite scared of that group of girls that seem really scary. They're also really scared of that presentation that you're all due to do soon. Like, you're not the only one running from zone to zone to zone. You've got a mob with you. As tough as the feelings that you're going through are, and as much as they might be like such a struggle to deal with, it might be helpful to know that you're not on your own. Like, you absolutely have a group of people that you're running with. It's just weird because you've all got like blinkers on, like you can't see each other. You're just all running together and you can't see one another. But I promise you, next time you're in school or whatever situation it is that makes you feel super like icky and nervous and anxious, just look around and realize like everyone in this room probably has some element of what you're feeling as well. You're not the only one at all. Your opinion matters way more than anyone else's opinion. The way you see yourself matters more than how anyone else sees you. If you can crack this, you can crack social anxiety. Why? Because yes, social anxiety is a way of saying I don't feel safe, but it's also a way of saying I'm scared of people's opinions. And the only reason you'd be scared of someone's opinion is if you think that their opinion matters. Like, each time you've stopped yourself from doing something, wearing something, buying something, you're kind of low-key saying like their opinion matters. Maybe it does matter, maybe it's your family member, maybe it's your sibling or whatever, but just bear in mind, whose opinions are you low-key saying matter more than your own? There might be different reasons why you think their opinion matters. Maybe you're looking for validation. You want them to say positive things. So you're hoping that like positive opinions will come out of the situation. Or maybe you're scared of negative opinions. You're scared that they'll call you weird, awkward, like you're just a weirdo. A huge thing with social anxiety that no one talks about is just you're terrified of people like confirming your feelings. So if you feel ugly and you're wearing loads of makeup and you feel scared, you're just terrified someone's going to call you ugly. Or if you feel like you don't have any friends, you're a loner, you're terrified of someone saying you're a loner. If you feel like you're awkward and you don't know what to say, you're terrified of someone calling you awkward and being like, you never know what to say. The way you feel, a lot of your fear around that is just you're terrified of whether someone will confirm how you're feeling. And I know that might sound like a bit weird, but that should hopefully help, because you already feel that thing. You already feel like a weirdo. You already feel like you're a loner. What does it matter if someone else agrees? Like, your opinion should matter more than theirs. There's been a point in your social anxiety journey where it started off small and then it got big. And in that journey somewhere, there was a tipping point where everyone else's opinion started to matter more than your own. And in order to overcome social anxiety, you have to balance that out and then get it to a point where your opinion matters way more than everyone else's. Because I promise you, nothing can hurt you like deep down internally if your opinion comes first. If what you say about yourself comes first. I'm a good person, I'm kind, I'm nice to everyone. I'm a good person to be around. It doesn't matter what anyone says. You're a weirdo, you're a loner, you're ugly, because what you say is number one on the list. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. And if you're the sort of person that feels bad about yourself and you feel negative, and that's not because you've told yourself negative things, that's because everyone else is number one on that list. You're not number one anymore. You've put yourself further down that list in terms of your opinion mattering less. You just need to get your opinion back up on the list. The last thing you need to do in order to overcome social anxiety and really just close that book and put it away is to build up a stronger sense of self. The reason why that thing causing you social anxiety matters so much, whether it be that school, that group of people, that family member, that circumstance, that event, is because it probably makes up quite a large portion of your life. If your life was like a pie, for most people, the biggest chunk might be work or it might be school. If that's the case, that's why it has such an impact on you. Most of your life is dictated by school or dictated by work. You need to build up things like hobbies, artwork, gym, side hustles. You need to have things going on that distract you from the main chunk of your life and kind of add slices to the pie. You need to dilute the impact that that thing has on you by having things going on outside of your life. When I think back to me being at school, no wonder I was so terrified at school. School was the only thing I had going on. I had no hobby. I didn't play any sports. I didn't have anything going on. Whereas now, uni is such a small part of my life. If some weird person's calling me weird things at uni, first of all, I just don't care. But second of all, so what? I also do Pilates. I'm also into yoga. I'm also doing TikTok. I also do YouTube. I also have a job. I have other things going on. I've got so many pieces to my pie that one small bit of the pie, if someone's being weird and trying to get me down, I literally just don't care. Whereas imagine that was half of my pie. That would be quite a big deal. That's half of my world, nearly. Like, you need to have different aspects going on. If you made it this far into the video, all the way to the end, then thank you so much. No matter the battle that you're going through with social anxiety right now, whether it's like you're literally in tears every night because you don't want to go to school, that was definitely me at one point. I promise you, you are not alone. And if I could overcome social anxiety, the grip it had on me, the chokehold it had on me, anyone can overcome it. I absolutely promise you. These are the key things that I've learned. I really, really hope that they've helped you, and thank you so much for watching.